Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the need to consistently be present on social media? Or maybe you're struggling to find time to be present and engage on all your social media platforms. Now, I want to take a moment to share with you. Just before the end of the year, I was doing some prep work with my mastermind students to get them ready for 2024 and the amazing year ahead. And one of the big questions that came about from my mastermind students with all that we have going on, how do we find the time to fit everything in? And what I shared with them was the one thing that I've learned. And what I learned is like social media is really no different than anything that we do and we decide that we want to be successful at it. So what is it the thing that you do when you know that you want to be successful at something? You plan. And so I have developed a saying, and the saying is you have to plan to be consistent. So today we're going to take some time to talk about why you need to be consistent. And then I'll be sharing with you some simple strategies that would allow you to show up consistently. But before we get started, I would like to know who's out there with me today. So if you are joining us, take a minute in the comment section to let me know where you are watching from. Go ahead, drop your city, drop your state, and let me know where you are watching from. And then also let me know who do you serve in your business and how you serve in your business. And the reason why I love asking for our super achievers to share who they serve in their business and how they serve in their business is because this is one of the places that you get the opportunity to do some virtual networking. So this is another opportunity for you to connect with other like-minded individuals and start to build your network. But here's the kicker. We won't know who you are and who you serve unless you tell us. So don't forget to take a moment to share that in the comment section below. Now, also, I'm going to ask you if you are watching from our Social Media Saturdays page and you have not taken the opportunity to like the page, you want to take a moment to do that. And the reason why, this is one of the ways that you would stay connected whenever I do Social Media Saturdays. So once you like our page, you will begin to get notifications on when I'm going live. So you won't miss the opportunity to be a part of the conversation. And then also for our superstars who are watching from LinkedIn, if you have not yet connected with me on LinkedIn, you could take a minute and send me a connection and I'll make sure that I connect back with you. And then if you are watching from our YouTube channel and you have not yet subscribed to Social Media Saturdays, you want to do the same thing. You want to take a minute, hit the subscribe button, and then that way you will be able to get notifications every time we do our Social Media Saturdays videos. And then that will be a great way for us to stay connected. And then last but not least, I'm just going to ask you if you know of another coach or entrepreneur or business professional who could benefit from the information that I am going to share with you today, go ahead and tag them in the comments below. Okay. And so I want to start off by giving a few announcements and a few updates before we get into today's topic. And so one of the things that happened for me in 2023 is that I took a break from social media Saturdays. And so for most of you who know me throughout the years, Social Media Saturdays is the very first video podcast that I've done. And I kind of took a minute to kind of step back and do some rethinking about what I wanted the platform to look like, and then also focus on the other video platform that I do, which is the Influencer's Journey. And I do that partnering with Suzanne Hart, who is a Mindset Mastery mentor. And we just wanted to, sit back and take some time and think about how we can best serve our community. And so one of the things that stood out for me as, I took a break from Social Media Saturdays our super achievers and our superstars were reaching out to me and asking what happened and requesting for me to bring back Social Media Saturdays. And so here we are, the very first episode of 2024. And so I am happy and excited to let you know that I will be bringing back Social Media Saturdays, and we will be back together every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can go ahead and book it on your calendar, because this is a place where we will sit down and we will have conversations pertaining to social media and how you could continue to leverage the power of social media to build your influence and also build your business as well. And then the second update is to let you know that we will be resuming our Influencers Journey Show. And so that's the show that we put our energy and effort into 2023 to really build up the platform. And so we took a little break over the winter holidays. And so now we will be starting back with the Influencers Journey Show as well. And with the Influencers Journey Show, this is where influencers like yourself, we come together and we have great conversations on, once again, what does it take to build your influence and be seen as an influencer in the marketplace. And so we will be continuing with our Influencers Journey Show on Thursday evenings. And then last but not least, we are also bringing back Mindset Mondays, which will be happening every fourth Monday of the month. And this will be specific to our people in our storytelling for super achievers community. Okay. And so as we sat down and we took a look at our communities and ways to serve, these are the things that we decided that we are going to, really focus on to continue to serve, build engagement, and build relationships with our members of our community and also on our platform. And so another thing that came up for me as I took a look at relaunching Social Media Saturdays, I thought it would be very cool to run a contest. And so that's one of the fun things that I've decided to do. So I'm going to take a minute right now to share with you what we're doing for the contest. So I thought about running a contest for our new members, and then it dawned on me, why just new members? Maybe this is something that I should open up for our existing members and give us all once again the opportunity to reconnect. And so I'm going to ask each and every one of you, regardless of whether you are in a community or not, or this is the first time you're coming across our video and you're not a member of our Storytelling for Super Achievers community, I'm going to ask you to record a short video introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about who you are, who you serve, and what would you like to gain from being part of our community. Okay, so we want this to be a place not only where we show up, to share content that we think that's important to us and our brands and for you, but we also want to hear back from you on things that are important to you and how we can better serve you. So once again, here's the thing, short video. And in that short video, you're going to introduce yourself. You're going to tell us a little bit about who you serve in your business. And then what would be the one thing that you would like to gain from being part of our community? And then the contest is going to run for the entire month of January. And so what we're going to do at the end of the month is we're going to have a drawing. And I'm going to put some names in a hat. Okay, shake the hat up or a little box. I don't know as yet whether it's going to be a hat or a box. And then our lucky winner is going to receive a prize. Okay. And so you don't want to miss this opportunity, to engage and reconnect with our members of the community. So we will all love to hear from you. Okay. And if you're not a member of our Super Achievers community, you could look in the description of this video and you could find a link to join the community. So without any further ado, welcome once again to Social Media Saturdays. My name is Taria Hodge, and each week the question that I set out to answer is, how does the average professional or entrepreneur attract their divine client and build a loyal following and their tribe? And what skills must you learn? And most importantly, who are you required to become? And so today we're going to be diving into the topic, the art of showing up, building a consistent social media presence. And so for those of you who are just joining us, welcome to Social Media Saturdays. Now, I remember there was a time when I too was struggling to show up on social media. And there are always a myriad of reasons, things that show up, things that block us from showing up on social media. And my reasons range from, I don't have enough time. With all of the things that I have to do as an entrepreneur and run a business, how do I find a time, to consistently engage on social media? Then another thing that came up for me is, what do I share on social media? Like, how do I continuously come up with topics of conversation that are of interest to my audience? Now, let's be real. One of the things that I talk about is inspirational social media. So what do I mean by inspirational social media? We all have the times when we have that moment of inspiration and we have something deep or something profound to say, and we could flip open our phones, or we could turn on our computers or get on our tablets, and we could write that engaging post, do that engaging video for our audience. And that's great, awesome. But what happens in those moments when the inspiration doesn't hit you? And I know I can't be the only one, because I've had moments where I just didn't feel inspired to do anything on social media or to produce content, right? So that was another hurdle that I had to learn to get over. And so I'm going to share with you my strategy for getting over, those moments where you're not feeling inspired, but you need to show up on social media anyway. And then also the other thing that used to stump me in the beginning, and I know our men out there, I don't think our men suffer from this or struggle with this, but I know for some ladies, it's always that thing of, how do I show up on camera? There's a lot of prep work that needs to be done. So with all of that being said, how do I build it into a routine where I'm able to show up and be consistent? So those are all of the things that used to pop up for me. Now, here's the thing. Things didn't change for me until I understood the power of consistency. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today, right? What it means to be consistency, and what establishing a consistent presence on social media can do for your brand, and then also do for your business. So let's jump in. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is the impact of consistent social media on your brand growth. So having a consistent presence on social media, how does it affect your brand growth? Now, one of the things that I know as entrepreneurs that we have all heard before is the know, like, and trust factor. So people always do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And as I began to really understand this, social media became that place for me to quickly build my know, like, and trust factor. So some of you might be out there asking, Taria, what do you mean by that? Well, when you give yourself opportunities, or you plan opportunities to do things like what I'm doing now, showing up on live video, that gives my audience the opportunity to get to know me. They get to like me. So I'm not just, a brand, a faceless brand. They get to know the person behind the brand. They get a chance to know my values, what I stand for, not just my product services and my product offerings. Then they get to like me. Hopefully you guys like me. And then also, it's most importantly, it's about building trust. And so showing up on social media and having a consistent presence on social media will give you the opportunity to do those three things: build your know, like, and trust factor. The second thing that I want to share with you guys today is that taking a look at social media as a long game. And so this is one of the things that I had to get present to, is that social media is a long game. So how many of you still think of social media as that thing, like when I have a program or a product that I want to promote, then I show up on social media and I promote my product and my service. And then when you're outside of your promotion period, your social media kind of goes dull or it's low. Okay, so how many of you have that struggle and you have that challenge? Or you show up on social media and you're expecting one result from social media, which everyone says, oh my gosh, I want to use social media to generate revenue. I want to build sales or get sales on social media. And when that doesn't happen in the time frame that you give yourself, you're kind of frustrated with social media. Be honest, right? You're spending all of this time, all of this resources, for some of you, it's money that you're spending, investing in tools, investing in products, investing in people to help you manage your social media presence. And then when you look at it, wow, I'm not getting the ROI. And then you kind of lull on your social media again. So one of the things that I want to share with you is that social media is a long game. And if you start to really think about social media, just like how you do marketing, offline marketing, and you're consistent with doing things offline for your marketing, social media is one of the things that you want to incorporate as part of your marketing strategy. And then you want to build in ways that you can nurture relationships on social media. Okay. So the stop and start on social media doesn't really work. So sometimes it's just a little bit about switching or fine tuning our focus on social media. So instead of just always looking at the sales and the revenues and the place to, promote our products and services, start to think about what relationships can you foster on social media, and then what relationships do you already have that social media can make it easier for you to maintain those relationships. So I want to say that again. So start to take a look at your social media as the place where you can foster new relationships. And as we go through Social Media Saturdays, these are the things that we're going to talk about. Okay, so how can you foster new relationships? And for the relationships that you already have, how can you continue to nurture and strengthen those relationships by leveraging the power of social media? Okay. And then the next thing that I want to jump into is, some of you might be saying, Taria, that sounds great. That sounds fun. But what are some of the strategies? What are the things that I could do right now that would allow me, to make this all possible? So once again, we're talking about being consistent on social media, the art of showing up. Now, I'm just going to say this. When I talk about showing up on social media, one of my favorite ways to show up is to do exactly what I'm doing now, which is the power of video. Okay. And so I understand that, not everyone is there yet. So the information that I'm sharing with you can pertain to video content, and it could also pertain to written content, whether you are writing your social media posts or whether you're writing your blog. These are all forms of content on social media that you can produce. Okay. And so one of the first things that we talked about is, what is your plan to be consistent? So how many of you have laid out your social media plan for 2024? Okay. Or maybe you have not laid out your social media plan for 2024. Have you laid out your social media plan for the first quarter, for the first 90 days of the year? And if you have not done that, and you are challenged with that and you would like to have a conversation around that, just let me know by typing conversation into the comments, and I will make sure that I reach out to you so we could have a discussion around it. Because once again, what we're talking about is being able to have a plan to be consistent. So not having a sound plan for your social media is one of the quickest ways, to fall into those traps, which will, once again, lead to inconsistency, which will have a direct impact on your brand and on your business. Okay. So it all starts with a plan. Now, when I talk about having a plan, one of the things, and I'll just share with you because I'm just going to share with you a little bit of my strategy. So one of the things that I learned very quickly is that I had to know ahead of time what are the things that I am going to talk about on social media. Now, I'll say this, some topics I could come up with on my own. And other topics, I need help from my superstars. I need help from my super achievers. And so I asked the question, what are the things that you guys need to know? What are the things that you need help with? What are your struggles and what are your challenge? And as you build out your content calendar, you should also be creating an idea bank. So how many of you have heard of an idea bank? You should have an idea bank. And an idea bank is simply a place that you could store your content idea. Whether you do that in a notebook or whether you do that in some type of digital format, create an idea bank for yourself. And once you have that idea bank, it will give you the opportunity to, when the inspiration of a topic doesn't hit you, you could simply go into your bank of ideas and pull an idea out of the idea bank. Okay. So that's the first tip and the first strategy that I'm going to give you in planning to be consistent. Create an idea bank. The second thing that I'm going to share, and this was huge for me, is to be able to create content pillars. So how many of you have ever heard of content pillars? If you've heard of content pillars, just go ahead and drop me a comment in the comment section and says, yes, I have my content pillars. And if not, then I'll explain to you what content pillars are. So one of the things that another question that I get all the time is, what do I create content around? And people come to this question from the standpoint of not wanting to overshare on social media. So how many of you feel like sometimes you get into that point of, am I sharing too much on social media? Or what exactly do I share that allows me to stay relevant to my audience? Okay, so I too had that question. So one of the things that I learned very quickly is to create these pillars of content. And when I say pillars of content, my content pillars or pillar content would be broad categories of content that you can create in. So I want you to stop for a moment and just think about it. In your industry, what are 4 to 6 broad categories that you could have, or broad categories or subject areas that you can talk about when it comes to your business or the industry that you're in? And by identifying your content pillars, these content pillars allows you to say, you know what? These are the topics or the subject areas that I'm going to have conversations about. And so I liken content pillars to guardrails. Okay. And so it keeps us very focused. It keeps us from straying into topics and conversations that are off topic to our brand. And so if you're struggling with that question, what do I create content around? That's one of the things that you want to start to think of. What would be the broad categories? And I recommend or suggest that you give yourself 4 to 6 that you could talk around. Okay. And then the third strategy that I'm going to talk about as you produce your content, start to think about producing in mega content. So what do I mean by mega content? So mega content will be the one big piece of content that you are going to create. And from that mega piece of content, you are going to source that piece of content for all of the other pieces of content that you need to fuel your social media. Okay. And when I tell you, this is also another game changer. And I'm going to share with you just how much of a game changer it is. And so I know many of you by now have probably, if you have not seen it, you have probably heard of the interview that Cat Williams did with Shannon Sharpe, Shay Shay, Unc Shay Shay, on the Shannon Sharpe show. Maybe it's the Unc Shay Shay show. I don't know the name of the show. But I had the opportunity to watch the interview. And I know some people watched the interview and they got all excited about things that were being said on the interview. And for Taria, not so much the things that were being said. I saw a lot of marketing strategy, a lot of things that got me excited from a business point of view, from a social media point of view in the interview. And so this is one of the things that I'm just going to share. So I want us to just take a look at that interview. And I looked at that interview as a mega piece of content. And when I say a mega piece of content, that interview was 2 hours, 46 minutes, and 5 seconds long. Yes, I looked at the end of the timer on YouTube, 2 hours, 46 minutes, and 5 seconds long. And what I saw from that was I counted, and I know that there's probably more. I counted probably 13 clips of content. Okay, so there's probably more by now, but when I looked at it, there were 13 clips of content, shorter pieces of content that came out from that one mega piece of content. And it was so amazing because this is the thing that I say all the time when it comes to staying consistent on social media. So let's face it, if you are managing multiple social media platforms, there's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's LinkedIn, some of you are on TikTok. If you're managing multiple social media platforms and you're still thinking in the mindset of having to go and create specific content for each of these social media platforms, I'm going to tell you that's your quickest way to burn out. Okay. And so start to think strategically and think about what's the one piece of content that I could create. And then from that one piece of content, how many other pieces of content or how many things can I source that content for? So meaning if I produce a video content, can I get a blog from that? Can I get shorter videos from that? Can I get more social media posts from that? Can I get my quotables from that? What are all of the things that I could use or extend, what I like to call extend the life of the content? So as you start to take a look at producing your content, you want to start to think about how do I get more use from the content that I produce? And that is also another excellent way that would allow you to not just show up, but show up consistently, not just on one platform, but also on multiple platforms. Okay. And then the last thing that I'm going to share with you before we wrap up this episode of Social Media Saturdays, I'm going to share with you tips for engagement. So once again, it's all good and well and fine for us to talk about showing up and showing up consistently on social media. And it's not just showing up for showing up's sake, right? The whole point of social media is for us to do what? Is for us to build relationships, nurture our connections. And so once again, I'm going to share with you, social media is not a set it and forget it. Okay. And so I'm going to share with you some things that you can do that will allow you to build authentic engagement with your audience on social media. So in the age of technology, we have a lot of automation tools, and I love automation tools. lot of automation tools that would allow us to make our life a whole lot easier. So there are content schedulers. So things that after you create your content, you could use a content scheduler that would allow you to schedule your content and be consistent in that way. So I definitely love those. I use it. I use a few of them actually. So having a content scheduler. And then there are also AI tools that would allow you to even engage, and they would engage on your behalf to your audience. Okay, so messenger bots, that's another great tool that you could use. But I'm gonna make sure that I encourage everyone today, as we leverage the power of automation in our business, don't let automation replace us. Okay, so once again, social media is not a set it and forget it. I always like to say set it and go back and engage with it. So make sure, once again, going back to the plan, that you are scheduling time on your calendar to go back and engage with your content. Engage with the people who are connecting with you through your content. Okay. And then the second thing that I'm going to share with that is have a strategy to take your engagement offline. And I can't say this enough. A lot of times, when people look at social media, we do a lot in connecting with people on social media. We go back as we should, commenting and engaging underneath the post. But are you taking the extra step to get to know your people? And what we're talking about here is building our tribe, to know your people and have those offline conversations. So are you reaching out via phone call? Are you hosting in-person events that would give people the opportunity to get to know who you are? So have a strategy to take people offline. Are you using the power of social media to build your email list? And I'm just going to say, some of my greatest relationships that I have, in this space have started on social media. People that have connected with me through my show, through my postings, and it took us a while for us to actually meet in person. But the reason why I could talk about those relationships, and those relationships are so dear for me, is because until we met in person, we were doing things like having conversations and connecting, other ways off of social media. So don't just take a look at social media as a thing that you do on what you do on social media, but start to think on ways that you could build authentic engagement with your audience. Okay. And so that is it for this episode of Social Media Saturdays. And so I want to hear your thoughts, okay? So I want to hear from you on what you took away. So it will really help me if you would share in the comment section, what is your biggest takeaway from today's episode? The art of showing up, building a consistent social media presence. Okay, so how are you maintaining consistency on your social media platforms? So drop a comment under the video, let me know. Or if you would like to have a conversation with me, just type the word conversation into the comment section and I'll reach out to you and we'll have a call. And so I want to leave with you the thought of the week. And the thought of the week is consistency on social media isn't just about frequency. It's about creating meaningful connections every time you post. So once again, the thought of the week is consistency on social media isn't just about frequency. It's about creating meaningful connections every time we post. All right. So our superstars and super achievers, take care until next time. And just as a last minute reminder, if you are in our community or if you are new to our community, that means you haven't joined the community before, we would love an introduction from you. So make sure you take the time to record your short video. Let us know who you are. Let us know who you serve and what would be the one thing that you want to gain from our relationship together. Take care until next time. Bye-bye.